Okay, it's 7 o'clock, so let's call to order the Architectural Review Board meeting for March 18th, 2026. Roll call, please.
Mason,
Here.
Gorson,
Here.
Barban,
Here.
Kress.
And vacant seat, vacant. Okay, I guess we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next agenda item is citizens' time. I don't see anybody in the audience. Do we have any emails in? Okay, so we'll move on from that. Minute approvals, we got two sets of minutes to approve. Do I have a motion?
Sure. Let's see, I motion to approve the minutes for June 25th, 2025 and July 16th, 2025.
I got August and December.
Yeah. Need some glasses. Getting old. See, I'm not sure. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm a little too.
Okay,
Was it on here?
I'll just go up to the agenda up top.
Yeah, I thought this was.
Right there.
Okay. All right. All right. I motion to approve the minutes for August 20th, 2025 and December 17th, 2025.
Got a motion
I'll second.
and a second. Any discussion of corrections or anything? You good with the August?
Mhm.
Okay. Put it up for a vote then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're good. Okay, moving on to the agenda items. Do we have Nova Solar online? All right.
Nova.
I think it's Nova for both, right?
We're gonna begin with Nova
Oh.
and then Lumina.
Oh, Lumina's the other side. Okay, I thought they Nova did both. Okay. So we'll start with Gossam Manor Place, ZP 2026-003. Which one is that for? I'll let you.
So this is the zoning permit for the installation of 27 roof-mounted solar panels at 15013 Gossam Manor Place. The panels are going to be triple black and they're going to be, again, roof-mounted. They'll be flush to the roofing. They're identified as triple black, so black frames, black back sheets, and black cells. Excuse me. Apologies. All of this is in accordance with the zoning ordinance and with the HOA requests as well. The structure is not historic, and we're going to begin with a discussion of just the design of the solar panels and the color palette chosen by the applicant.
Okay. I guess Nova Solar, any comments before we begin discussion that you would like to contribute? Okay. Any questions from the ARB? I'm looking for details. One question I have is the power box. Is that going to be internal to the garage or where's that going to be located?
So some of the modifications include eliminating the use of a string inverter on the side of the house adjacent to the utility meter. Instead, they'll use micro inverters located and hidden under the solar modules. Okay. If you'd like to provide additional context for what these microinverters may look like, I think the board would appreciate that. Nova.
Yeah, I'm assuming the disconnect box is a standard size like you do with any air conditioner unit. How about the other units? Are they about the same size or in reference? Okay, so any outside mounting, I don't feel is really obtrusive or would be noticeable.
I think for me, where this is in town, I don't really think you're gonna see it from the main thoroughfares. It's gonna be when you're going through the back streets of the community, even Crossroads Village. I'm assuming the existing structure has been evaluated for the additional weight and wind on the roof for these new solar panels. Okay. Your wind speeds are wrong. You have them listed at 90 miles per hour. They should be at like 110, 115 miles per hour. And that actually increases the load by a factor of like 1.5, 1.6. Okay. This is on, I think, yeah, A00. Okay.
I guess my only question is really for the board. This is my first time being involved with solar panels for the town. Does this precedence rope us into if there are homes that decide that are street facing or internal town facing? Does that rope us into now that we've allowed others to to have to allow them to do it as well?
Well, that's a good question for Emily, because I'm sure she's more up to speed with the restrictions of our decision-making that state has imposed on us.
Yes, so based on state restrictions, we as a locality have to allow for solar panels. So we have a very detailed section of our zoning ordinance allowing for it. And we actually have several houses throughout town who in the past, I would say 5 to 6 years, it's been a much more popular decision for people have already put solar panels. And sometimes, yes, they are located on the front of the home.
Okay.
The roof line, but the front of the roof line.
So overall, we've already approved, basically blanket approved the.
That is,
Yes.
that
Okay.
is correct. And
Okay.
we do have to follow state statutes on that.
Copy that. Okay.
But there's nothing in our current guidelines, in the architectural guidelines about solar panels.
That needs to be updated to fall in line with the zoning ordinance text that was added in there. Mhm.
So any more discussions?
No, sir.
We got a motion?
A motion to approve ZP number 2026-03, installation of roof mounted solar panels at 15013 Gotham Manor Place.
2026-003.
Is that what I said? That's not what I said. Okay. ZP number 2026-003, installation of roof mounted solar panels at 15013 Gotham Manor Place.
Okay, got a motion.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Last chance for discussion. I guess we'll put it up for a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations. Go to work. Okay, next agenda item. It's been up to the top again. I usually like to have a second tab, but I don't. The next agenda item, ZP 2026-008, Crossroads Village, installation of roof-mounted solar panels.
Yes, before I begin that discussion, Nova Solar, I will reach out to you with additional details. You are good to leave the meeting if you so choose. Thank you for your attendance. Okay, next agenda item, yes, the Fusion Solar Services will be installing 48 panel roof-mounted solar systems on 6515 Crossroads Village Boulevard, AKA this is Kitty Academy. For those, it is newly opened. They also are going to be installing a universal wall charger for an electric vehicle as well. The 48 panels going in will also be triple black, and we'll also be using microinverters to be hidden under the solar modules. The universal wall connector that is going in, the county has already accounted for where it will be placed in the parking lot. So there is a place for it in terms of building positioning. And this again is a commercial property. It's Kitty Academy. So we're going to discuss the design, the placement, and the color palette for the roof-mounted solar panels and the universal wall charger.
Is, what is it, Innova Solar on for this one?
This is Lumina Solar,
Lumina Solar, yeah.
also known as Fusion Solar Services. They've also included in their application a feasibility study for the installation.
Yep, are they online?
I-
Did they want to make comment?
Shane, are you with Fusions?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you provide any additional comment on the installation?
Okay, any comments or questions from A or B? Kind of out of our swim lane, but I guess with that charger, the wall mount charger, does that do anything to the site plan, or does it impact parking counts or anything like that?
No, so it was already accounted for by the county when they submitted their site plans and when they got their building permit. So it's already been accounted for.
Okay, like I said, out of our swim lane, for our
Yeah.
decision tonight, but
Yes, yeah.
So I have a question with the solar, or sorry, with the Tesla charging station. I know lots of times you have wall-mounted ones as well as like actually ones integrated with the pedestals, right? Because out at Sheets, we have the ones that are on the pedestals. They have their own independent foundation. This, it sounds like, is getting mounted to something else, right? Some other structure that's out there.
Correct. It's not a standalone structure like you would see at the sheets. It'll actually be mounted to one of the light poles, I think. I don't even think it's going to be. There's an outlet that Shane, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but I believe what the John Snow, the construction foreman, when I had spoken to him about it, he implied that it would actually be connected to a light pole that's out there, that there is a electrical box in place for it to be connected to.
Okay. Yeah. It's not the rapid one. And then is there any cable management for the actual where the charger connects to the car? And then I guess if these are typically meant for residential, right? Interior spaces, interior garages, having it mounted to the light post, is there any sort of risk now that we're exposing it to the elements? Okay. Okay.
I think any additional wear and tear on the cable itself will be left up to um, Hassan, who is owner of Kitty Academy. It'll be left up to him to maintain and fix.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking, if somebody leaves it in the car and forgets to,
Mhm.
take it out, right? And then they drive
Yeah.
off, right?
Mm.
Okay. Okay. So it's kind of forces users to actually hang the cord up and kind of do their own,
Mhm.
back check and not leave it kind of draping all over to be driven over.
Yeah, it
That's good.
requires a little bit of due diligence on the
Yeah.
user.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess jumping off on that, with it being personal use and they're an outlet on an exterior light post, who pays for the electricity that goes to that light post? Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that one is so part of the reason why they needed to connect with the county about that was because the power box that's connected to the light pole does run to Kitty Academy.
Okay. And then I guess the only other question I had, looking at your drawings for the solar panels, looks like the standard details that you provided have it anchoring into a concrete substrate, like a concrete roof deck. But yet you say here the existing building is, wooden roof trusses with like I'm assuming some sort of wood sheathing, and then maybe like you say rubber membrane, maybe it's that, maybe it's TPO. Is there any additional concerns, with flashings and detailings and things like that? I mean, you guys did a good detailed structural analysis. I think we're good there, but I just want to make sure that we start punching holes through this. It's not going to be leaking. Oh, okay. 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 Mhm. Yeah, okay.
You done?
Yep.
Okay. Well, one question I have, just to confirm, I'm looking at the picture of the universal wall connector. And yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like it's all self-contained and everything. What I'm used to seeing at some of the ports that we have at my office, it's kind of like a 220 junction box where you would plug a dryer into type of thing with a cable. Is it actually going to be something that's contained like the picture, or is it just a junction box in which you hook the cable up and then hook it up to your car? Okay. Okay. Mhm. Okay, so what's pictured here is accurate then in the packet.
I believe so.
Okay. Any questions? Any motions?
I'll motion to approve ZP number 2026-008, installation of a roof-mounted solar panels at 6515 Crossroads Village Boulevard.
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion and second. Last chance for discussion. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Congratulations. I guess, yeah, guess your next hurdle is county, right? Good luck.
Shane, I will follow up later this week with the permit. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Bye-bye. I'm glad these are touchscreen. Okay, we'll move on. Next agenda item is old business. It's been a while.
Okay, so we'll start with recent openings here in the town. So like I mentioned, Kitty Academy is officially open for enrollment. Emily and myself took a stroll through and saw everything inside. It looks fantastic, and we invite people to go out and check it out, and if you have young ones, to potentially enroll. Addition to this, Arts Van Gogh just opened up in the old museum. They did the ribbon cutting on Saturday, I believe. This is a business that connects the arts to young kids and child age kids all the way up to high school. She'll be, remind me what her name is? Dawn, who runs Arts Van Gogh. She also often comes out to farmers markets and does free arts during there, so you can connect with her there as well. Chick-fil-A will be starting construction for their drive-through expansion on July 11th. We intend for it to go until about July 26th. Obviously, there are often delays in construction, so we will keep everyone up to date on that. The drive-through will be closed for a certain amount of time, but the Chick-fil-A itself will remain open for walk-in and dine-in. So no worries, everyone can still get their chicken. We are working through a couple resubmissions for site plans around town. One of them is the Chestnut Street lots over on Fayette. We're working through the rezoning for the QBE property, which is discussing putting in townhomes and remaining the schoolhouse building, as well as cookies and cream where it is, and developing everything around it and just doing some general beautification of the lot. All of that is included in the rezoning. Back over to the CVC, the hotel and retail that are potentially going in. The hotel has a special use permit for about 6 stories. And we just received a preliminary for the retail. It's going to be 2 stories for right now. The hotel itself has an internal review system, so we have yet to see some new plans come in. Therefore, the retail will most likely become before the hotel. So we're connecting with them on that. Our town park is in the next stage of RFPs with several prospective offers, and we're looking forward to reviewing that for the next round. I think that's all the old business I have for you.
Update on Dominic's property?
Oh, yes. So addition to this, the Dominic's property, which is it's on Washington Street and St. Paul Drive, the old funeral home, White House building that has the chain link fence around it. The Dominics have received demo approval for that one. They will be putting up a new building, the rendering. Emily and myself got a look at it. It does look very nice and in conformance with a lot of what we see around town. There will be several businesses within the building for their daughters, including wedding dresses, men's like suits and tuxes, a photography business, and so on. So we're looking forward to that opening up. I think that's it. Yep. I know that was a lot, but it's been a while since we've met, so.
I don't know what the in-site plan was for Chick-fil-A, but the safety barrier between
Between them and the bank.
the bank, yeah, is that shrubbery? Did we finalize that with shrubbery, or are they going to put up those, what I would consider terrible poles?
I will have to re-verify. I am pretty certain it's landscaping though.
Yeah, I think
Because we were
recommended
all
landscaping.
against the flexi option that you have out on the interstate. And then we were also very concerned about a more permanent option and people backing into it. So I do believe we settled with them on landscaping, but we'll get that update and let you guys know.
Okay. And with the Dominic property, has a site plan been submitted yet?
They're working on that process to submit their site plan. So we've just held kind of pre-application meetings. I would expect in the next 2 to 3 months, we'll have a site plan come in.
Yeah. And I'm assuming you were just describing the building White Funeral Home as, 'cause that was never a funeral
Nope.
home, but.
That was a very recent reference. So we had another another business owner who came in who they were very close friends with Mrs. Leonard, and Miss Leonard always referred to that as the funeral home. It was not, in fact, the funeral home. It was the caretaker's home who took care of the funeral home and would often park the hearse there. So it was not a funeral home in that location, to our
I
knowledge.
apologize for that.
But that
one.
just happened yesterday. So yeah.
Okay, any questions?
When you were referencing the retail space over at the Crossroads Village Center,
Yes.
is that back behind Kitty Academy where the hotel pad is, or is that the one that's like in between what, Chick-fil-A and that other strip there?
No, so it's basically adjacent to Kitty Academy. So
Okay.
it'll be Kitty Academy retail and then the hotel. So you'll have to drive past the retail
Okay.
to fully get into the hotel. The reason why we're asking for the preliminary plans for the retail to come separately is because they're banking on the shared parking. So to have enough parking for that retail space, it needs to come in two separate phases, basically, if that makes sense. They can't wait for the hotel to go in to get all the parking for the retail. Now there is a prospective buyer for, I know it as Lot 46B, but it's behind the CVS. Where there is a prospective buyer for that lot. We haven't seen anything come in on that yet. They had previously mentioned, obviously it's zoned for commercial, so they had previously mentioned doing some sort of drive-through there, which will also require an SUP, so they are aware of all that.
And access to those sites, is that only going to be through the Crossroads Village Boulevard or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, everything will connect there. And then the other lot that you may have been thinking of, which is owned by Lidl.
Yeah.
We have not seen anything come in through there. I think they were on hold with seeing how Aldi did, and now the Sprouts is in. So I believe that Lidl has actually put the lot up for sale, and they will not be going in there at this
Okay.
time.
And then I think the only other question I had, Blight Drive and Lane Motors. I saw Lane Motors still has the for sale sign up.
I can give an update on that one.
Okay.
Real quick, just to jump back, Lydia, do you want to speak to it kind of with the visuals so they're aware?
Oh,
This is helpful. I'm looking at the map of Haymarket now.
Okay.
yeah, okay. So, just so everyone's aware though, the one lot that she mentioned that is up for possible contract on it, just because we've not dealt with anything in a long time, is right here where Alex has the mouse circled. So it has been quite some time since we've had any activity or interest in that area of the lot. That's the old Quarles site. And so when CVS went in there and the bank, a lot of this back portion was not developed. So we will be kind of keeping a close eye on what they propose to do there, and then just how big that lot is and the restrictions to it. And then it does look very tight, but just for kind of reference, so everyone is also tracking, what Lydia was explaining is that right here is that retail space. So when you drive it and you're physically there, you kind of think, how's it going to fit? But it is a small spot. They will heavily rely on shared parking with the hotel pad site.
So then I was going to ask, where's
So
what's
the
the size of the
hotel-
hotel pad site?
Zoom out just a second, Alex, not too far. There you go. So the hotel would be situated in here with parking
Okay.
around it. So the hotel, the parcel line kind of comes in here and then over.
Okay.
You can get a better visual of parcel lines on the Prince William County Mapper database. This is just Google Earth. And then you asked about Lane Motors, is that correct?
Yeah. Lane Motors.
Before you go to Lane,
Yes.
though, on here, you said that the only entrance to it will be Crossroads Village Boulevard. Is there going to be a connector between the back of CVS there?
Let me jump that back to Lydia.
so that is to be determined. So
Because I know they got that drainage pond there, the drive.
yeah, so they intend for it, like it'll lead into the parking. It's to be determined whether or not they'll make a cutout through here, because the individuals who have spoken to me about potentially putting a contract on this one are the people who are developing this space. So it would benefit them to have that cut through, but the preliminary plans have not come through on that because, again, it has to go through the hotel's internal review system. So I haven't seen anything on that yet.
And also for a bit of a awareness, We have been informed that this Crossroads Village development has sold, so it is under new ownership, new property management group. And that will play some factor into easements across those front properties there. So we were made aware of that in the last month or two with the Chick-fil-A conversations that they're now working with their new property management owner.
Okay, so it's only the Crossroads Village that was sold. The other parcels that they own, are they?
So to our knowledge, it's the Taco Bell and those multi-tenant buildings,
Okay,
and it's all of this right here. Lidl owns their parcel there, and then the back to the hotel,
The hotel owns them.
the investor who is looking to put the hotel there, he owns those. So to our knowledge, the previous owner is no longer affiliated with any of the parcels in this area.
mhm.
They do still own one parcel in town, but that is actively under contract as well.
And that parcel's on the other side of the railroad tracks from this, that storage lot?
Yeah, yes, south. Yes, that's correct. Yep. So Lane Motors, everything that we know currently is that they're still actively, the interested party was still actively trying to purchase. They're just having to go through the legal process of, I think there was, part of it went into probate, if not all of assets. So there is some struggle there when it came to the death in the family and not having everything lined up. So that is our knowledge on Lane Motors. It is our knowledge that that potential buyer who was looking at doing the Blight Drive townhomes, that it didn't work out for them to purchase that and build those 11 townhomes. So the original property owners who did the site plan are still in ownership of it. It sounds like they still want to find someone to build it. I don't think it's going to be the people who own it right now. We've not gotten any update on that. I will say though, they were made aware of their demolition COA expiring in December. And at the time, they did not want to come in and request an extension. So they will need to reapply for that COA for all 3 of those homes to be demolished.
And I think they'll need something for Lane Motors too as well, right? Because wasn't that like a?
Yeah,
April, May?
separate project, but yes. Yep.
The Blight Drive houses, are they vacant?
To my knowledge, they have renters in them and
Okay.
have this entire time. So yeah, they're still being upkept.
Yeah,
I
that's
do
good.
believe they have renters in them.
Didn't know if that would have raised a concern if they were
Yeah.
vacant.
Yes. And I will say,
Anything else?
old business wise, but not to get into too much detail. Lydia's been doing a great job with zoning violations and working with some of the things we've been seeing in town. So she actively has a couple that she's working on and processing. Those always kind of come up a little bit more in the winter months when you can see certain things. And then she's also hitting some of the sign violations as well that we have.
Okay. So yeah, I didn't know whether to include that in old business or new business. but
She has
since
a
you
great,
raised it-
she has a great new business update. You guys got to let her.
Okay, then
Give
I'll
you
raise it,
that
and I'll
update.
raise my question then
Okay.
for new business.
I just wanted to say she's doing great work with zoning violations.
Those are the tough ones.
Those are the.
Oh, yeah.
So on to new business. So we have 2 kind of big updates here in the works. After some discussion with council and commissioners, we're kind of giving a big push forward with this. Myself and Emily, I will be doing a lot of heavy lifting of looking over the zoning ordinance and making moves for the comprehensive plan as well. So for the zoning ordinance, we're largely starting with the use charts and definitions, making sure that everything is married up, all the definitions and what we have in the use chart. Also expanding our definitions. We've had a lot of new business come into town lately, some of which is very difficult to define under the current definitions that we have. So creating subsections of, like subsections of like manufacturing below that so we can accurately zone and accommodate incoming businesses. We're also going to be reviewing all the signs and murals information in the zoning ordinance. I know that it's been on the plate for the town to get some murals up or so that we can kind of really beautify the area. I'm a big fan of murals and so I would, that work is going to be really fun to add on to that. And we're going to be also fixing up all the sign requirements, making sure that everything that's in your guys' guidelines matches the zoning ordinance, matches the master plan, sign plans that we have around town for the different areas. I've gotten some feedback lately that the previous way that the sign ordinance was mandated in town is a little bit of a confliction. And so we're facing some business owners coming today wanting to make updates, and they're realizing that it's much longer process than they've had to do in the past. So making sure that everything is reflecting the same message there. For the comprehensive plan, I'm just going to start with kind of just aligning with trying to figure out how do we align our future comprehensive plan with the strategic plan that we have now adopted, that town council recently adopted just earlier this month, correct? Yes. Making sure that we're hitting those big first three on the strategic plan, and that we're reflecting what the town and residents want to see in upcoming things. I'll be looking at some localities surrounding us, Middleburg, Herndon, Warrington, Percival, understanding what they've had in their comprehensive plan in the past, what our old one reflected, and kind of adding on to it as well. I've set some meeting dates with Emily so that we can kind of keep on track with that. As we meet again, I'll have some further updates as we go through everything.
You can remind me what the big first three were?
Yes. So real quick to add on that, you can also follow along with the updates in the administrative report as it comes out with the council packets. Lydia will start including that starting this month in the monthly report there. The three top items in the strategic plan. So number one is the town hall site plan here, which would do the final build out of the exterior. It also adds in that right turn lane only off of Jefferson Street onto Washington Street headed westbound. It completes our sidewalk over here on Jefferson Street, and then it takes care of all the stormwater management work on our site, as well as paving it, better traffic flow, et cetera there. The second one is the town park. And so it is the design and completion and implementation of the town park plan. On that, just for everyone's awareness to follow along, we're in the RFP phase. Our top prospective offerers are to be submitting their final documents end of this week so that we can go back to the council at the March work session and have continued conversations, hoping to award that very soon after conversations and interviews. And then the third one, I think the third one is the comprehensive
Comprehensive plan.
plan. Yeah, the comprehensive plan is the third one.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Are you ready for questions?
There was a third thing I wanted to, the third new business piece is that the EPA grant that we got through the county, some recent, we're making some next steps towards that. We recently sent out many, many letters to residents and business owners asking for permission for the surveyors to enter onto the property. And that will go from all the way from Somerset Village, up Jefferson, along Washington, along the front of our property, and then all the way to Robinson's Paradise. So we'll be tackling a lot of stormwater and flooding events that have been happening on several properties.
I think we're ready for
Now we're ready for
Questions.
questions. You're like really ready.
Well, One nitpicky comment, of course, I got my letter to say that the people were walking on. Yes, said it was by certified mail on my letter, and of course it was hand delivered.
Oh, yes.
The previous mayor got a hand-delivered letter, yes, to save on some postage. Yes.
Well,
Okay,
we
that's
know where
fine.
you
We had a
live.
couple,
So
I
they-
will
so
say
they
we
were
had a
certified,
couple.
or you are tracking
We
that they
did all
received them?
certified. We had a
Okay.
couple individuals such as yourself and some other board members who we know very well, and we did hand deliver some of those to you directly when we saw you. Yes.
Okay.
But other residents, they got one in mail and they got one by
They
certified
got
mail.
two versions, a certified and regular mail. The other thing that Lydia took note to do was ensure that one went directly to the property, because sometimes we have renters in the property and they don't always get what the property owner receives. So we tried to make sure best we could that if the case arose, both parties were informed. Hopefully they were speaking to one another, but it doesn't always happen.
Okay. And then another question I had, going around and inspecting for violations and stuff, you're on top of that right now? That's one of your priorities?
Yeah, so actually just yesterday, Officer Finley, whenever I do go out, I usually I have one of the officers take me, or I have Matt take me. I like to go on people's property and visualize everything in a town vehicle. So Officer Finley and I drove around for about 30 minutes, just kind of looking at everything, making sure everything was up to code. There were some things that I had to take picture of, and I've already sent out messages. And so yeah, I am staying on top of that. Probably bi-weekly, I definitely go out, and anything that currently has a zoning violation, I go out weekly.
Yeah.
She's doing a very great job doing photo documentation. We're having to be a little reactive on some things that have happened over the last couple of years, but she's also taking a very proactive approach on other things and trying to have those friendly conversations ahead of a more serious violation. But some serious violations have been sent out, and so we are in that process.
Now, that's all taken care of through what line item? I'm sorry to get this complex. Within the budget. That's not through the blight program, is it?
Not yet. So I have some ideas to talk about council,
The
to talk with
reason I say
council.
that is because the budget's coming up, and I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, $5,000 is only going to cover one letter.
So I got a small preview from a finance liaison of this conversation. So I've been thinking about it this past week. So in the budget previously, we've always had blight mitigation, and that was intended, in the spirit of that line item, was to enforce our blight ordinance. Our blight ordinance requires a little bit of a different correspondence level. That's more of your blighted structures, and when it gets to a certain threshold, and those are sometimes very lengthy processes. And so when it comes to bandwidth of the town, we didn't always have that. So over time, we've reduced the blight mitigation. However, we do have somebody who's able to go out, do zoning violations. What we're currently doing right now is when there is an expense, such as an attorney review fee, that's currently coming out of our main pot of legal services for the administration. What I want to challenge and ask the council to consider is, why don't we start tracking that in that blight mitigation, or have a special funding of, legal services that have to do with zoning violations or blight mitigation. So I think we can better define that starting at the council level. I think that shows some different tracking when it comes to showing support for the zoning violations coming from the council, wanting to ensure that across the board, we're applying the appropriate funds to make sure that people are upkeeping their properties. When we need those additional outside resources, we have the help. So I definitely want to bring that up at the work session and at the end of March of how can we change that blight mitigation line item to ensure that it's covering zoning violations, and where is that appropriately funded from and tracked?
Yep, and that's one thing that I plan on bringing up.
Yes.
And your reasoning is right there with what I was thinking, which is we've up staffing so
Mhm.
that staffing can now focus on this. I even see having a time code that says I'm on blight activity right now, or I'm on violation activity. That can come out of that line item too.
Right.
So,
And it's definitely a lengthy process. I think, Lydia could sit here and tell us just how many hours that it takes to go out, take the photographs, come back, write the reports, work with the attorney, and then to do a weekly follow-up, because some things can change very quickly in a week, whether they're cleaning it up or you're not seeing the change. And so having that photo documentation week after week, especially if it goes to court, because if they don't follow through with abating it to the standard that we have set, then the next stop is court. And we do have to have that funding available as well. I'll also say in that same vein, something that council is thinking about and we have proposed is that the BZA have their own legal services funding in there, because we need our Board of Zoning Appeals to be able to hire their own legal representation. Because if a violation letter is appealed, it is appealed. As zoning administrator, it's one of my decisions that gets appealed, and the appeal body is to go to Board of Zoning Appeals. So in that instance, our town attorney would be sitting on this side of the desk with me, having the zoning administrator conversation, and they need to have a separate body that's representative of them. So that's another thing we've added when it comes to zoning violations. All important things of running local government.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I said with the last BZA that escalated to a case, there's conflict of interest. We got our lawyer
Yeah.
who's trying to represent the town, yet he's being the parliamentarian for the BZA.
Yes, and we learned a lot on that one. And that was headed to another court on another appeal. And so, thankfully we got things worked out and it didn't get all the way to another court case. But I will say, in addition to those efforts, we are also scheduling specific training for our board. So everybody will be, hopefully you can attend, but we will be training everyone on General Roberts rules and parliamentary efforts of running a meeting, being part of a board or a commission. In addition to that, we are hiring someone to specifically come in and provide leadership training when it comes to the chair and vice chair of every single one of the boards that we have, council all the way down to the BZA. So we are investing back into all of you guys and helping get you the training that makes you comfortable to sit there and run these meetings.
Any more questions? I think I burned enough time up here.
Can I just add one quick thing? You had asked, I want to go ahead and get it on record. So Chick-fil-A, it is a landscaping buffer. There is no hardscape in that area when it comes to bollards or anything else of that nature. They will be putting in 44 compact Japanese holly down the side between the bank property and their drive-through. And then a little bit closer up to where the drive-through exit is, they're putting in arrowwood viburnums.
That's good. I didn't like the hard option because it's just too tight and there'd be too
Yes.
many scratches on cars. And soft option is just not good either, because I think the elevations will be a little bit different over some of that part. And all you
Little
need
bit.
is one car to go over that. At least having a shrubbery barrier would be a little bit beneficial across the board.
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question. We
I guess I'll do it. That's fine.
we talked about coordinating the language between the architectural guidelines, the zoning, and as well as like the comprehensive plan. I know last fall we were working on the architectural guidelines, updating, correcting, kind of pointing to the guiding documents. So what's going on with that?
Mr. Barbin, I ask for your patience. Okay, so I think you guys are all well aware of some staffing changes that occurred. I will say, so council's priority is comprehensive plan. And so we are trying to actively address the comprehensive plan, but also we know that we need to address some things out of our zoning ordinance. The ARB guidelines will fall in line with that, and we hope to do as much as we can at the same time, work through it simultaneously. I will say, if there's suggestions, if there's edits, or if there's anything, maybe you have an area of expertise that you would like to help rewrite part of it, or you have strong feelings towards a certain chapter of it, we always welcome that assistance as well. So
For the guidelines or for?
for the
Okay,
guidelines, but we're
okay.
also very open to other suggestions. Each of you has your own bailiwick and your area of expertise. I know you're also in engineering. You have technical writing skills that you've helped us with prior. So we are always open to that feedback, suggestions. I know Lydia would probably appreciate, one-on-one meetings, sitting down and hearing ideas and getting support.
So I know there was some copy at one point that Thomas was working on where,
I can relocate that. I do have it. We can share it. I will say, once Lydia started, it was kind of hit the ground running on a lot of active site plans that we had. So we have not yet touched on the guidelines in great detail.
okay.
I will add to that, though, just working with residents and some businesses trying to upkeep their own personal property, that I've been in discussions with Emily where I'm looking at the guidelines and I'm like, this needs to be updated and this doesn't match that. So Emily and I are both in discussion and aware about some guidelines, the guidelines that do need to be updated. So
Yeah, I mean, there's no disagreement that the
Yeah.
existing guidelines need to be updated. I think the intent with these revisions to kind of streamline it, make it easier for folks,
Yeah.
and not be all convoluted. And there was even a discussion about having, certain items be, approved by town rather than, town staff rather than the
Yeah.
ARB.
Yes.
absolutely.
Any other discussion points? Okay, we'll move on then. Planning Commission updates. The Planning Commission liaison is not here. Did you want to substitute anything?
Yeah. So, yes. So, on our last planning commission meeting, we had Greystone Developers, who is looking to rezone the QBE property, the schoolhouse building. They did a resubmission. They presented the material that has changed, the material that has not changed, and they had discussion with commissioners. The largest things that have changed after the previous discussion, the previous planning commission meeting and public hearing, the Cookies and Cream building, also known as the Lewis home, will be staying where it is. They had previously offered to move it towards the facade and the off of Washington up front. But after some discussion where we were worried about the structure itself, the upkeep that has or has not been happening in the past years, its previous move from the park down to the QBE property, we were worried about whether or not it would last another move. As such, they determined that Lewis Home will stay where it is, and a stick of four townhomes will be moved to the front of Washington. They will face Washington, and a rear driveway will, on the backside, is how they will predominantly enter.
And that's not in front of the school, that's on the
Yes,
left
on the other side. In front of the school, they will be adding parking and then a gazebo. They've mentioned they may have some other plans for that area, but they have yet to come in. That gazebo also reflects on the Green Hill Crossing neighborhood. There's a gazebo directly on the other side of the street. They've also, after requests, they're including a pedestrian crossing from Green Hill Crossing to the property. They're requesting flashing lights, signage. All that is subject to VDOT approval, but we have requested renderings for what that would look like. That also includes, they will have to put in a sidewalk extension from Green Hill because there is currently no extension that would lead to the street. Additionally, the homes on the back end that are towards Alexandria's Keep, originally they were facing inward, and now they are facing outwards towards Alexandria's Keep. So they're so the garages line up. Yes, the garages line up. Those are no outlet. The end units will have a large enough driveway to accommodate a third vehicle. They received special permission from the fire marshal for those no outlets. Basically, if an emergency vehicle needs to get through, they're not required to have a turnaround point because there's enough space for the fire trucks to maneuver as is. They provided documentation for that as well. For the schoolhouse building, and for landscaping around the property, there's a couple waivers that will come future. One of them is a demo permit that will take off the rear end of the schoolhouse building. I requested that Greystone developer note in their narrative that the approval of the demo permit corresponds to whether or not the housing that they intend to include on the property, that those townhomes are subject to the approval of the demo permit, because otherwise they won't have the acreage and the shared parking space for as many townhomes as they want. Additionally, they've applied for a landscape waiver between what is still zone B1 and the commercial property on the county line. They are asking for a waiver because there is not enough space for the required buffering. And we are, as the town, are requesting that they put in a secondary fence line to help with noise on that end. And there's additional buffer for parking to go in front of the schoolhouse building. Currently, our guidelines do not allow for that, but that parking in front would actually prompt them to upkeep the facade, and I think would actually benefit to have the schoolhouse building, to have that parking in front, including access.
Just one quick add
Yeah.
to that. I do want to kind of make note that all of the waivers are more in reference of the footprint and the pre-existing brick schoolhouse building. And so we understand that they're not going to come in and move that building, but we are trying to work with them so they have options to have more usable space when it comes to that commercial structure, keeping its integrity and also supporting the businesses that are in there. Thus, we are in support of that parking waiver when it comes to putting some parking in the front, but not fully getting rid of all of that grass. So it would be an adjustment there. Then also, as Lydia was mentioning, that east boundary line, again, you're not going to come in and necessarily move that building. They still need to have circulation around the building when it comes to vehicular traffic. So we have had that discussion about additional buffering and what that might look like. So all of these are still very much up to the Planning Commission to make recommendations on and the Town Council to give the final approvals.
The last thing I was going to add is that the Planning Commission is required to provide an approval or denial by April 20th. That is 90 days from the initial public hearing. Our next meeting is on April 14th.
The Lewis home,
Yes.
is that, I know on the initial site plan, that was intended on becoming a community center. Is it staying business or?
They intend to keep it as, they intend to use it as a community center. Cookies and Cream / Ghosted Concepts will move into the main schoolhouse building. And then the space, they will leave a significant green space in front of the Lewis home. And then during the last Planning Commission, the Greystone developers mentioned the potential for some playground pieces to potentially be included there as well to help mitigate burden on the town park. We also talked about the CIP, but I will leave that discussion to Emily for the Planning Commission.
Yes, so we brought the CIP, the capital improvements plan to the planning commissioners. We had discussions there. It was recommended by our commissioners to consider including sidewalks that I would say are kind of under improved. That's that portion on Jefferson Street as it leads down on what's the west side of the street where you have the sidewalk. There's kind of that older property where the sidewalk sits right on the edge of the asphalt. So that was a consideration. In that same vein of discussion, I suggested to the commissioners that I would take it to council to include over here on Fayette Street where we're lacking sidewalk for inclusion, to include a small portion right there on the museum property to be improved. And then for the council to take into consideration North Fayette Street back towards Sherwood Forest, if there was options for sidewalk additions there. Those are some of the final locations in our town that don't have any sidewalk improvements. Additionally to that, I'll be cleaning up the document, bringing it back April 14th to the Planning Commission. We have a couple things that have been completed that need to be removed. I would just ask if ARB has anything that you guys would like to see added in there. Please let us know, let Ken know, and we'll continue to work through that with the town council.
Yeah, I did address that in that bicycle safety,
Yes,
pedestrian safety. Did you get that document? You do have that
I
document,
do have
right?
that document, yes. And
So,
so,
You
yeah.
see my recommendations in there. I went hog wild saying if I
Yeah.
had all the money in the world.
Yes. So yeah, those are some of our major areas. They had also asked about Jefferson Street once you cross over the railroad tracks, to which I also informed them that we're working with the county. The county has a project planned over there. They have applied for a grant. They have received initial positive support that they could get this grant fully funded. And that would put pedestrian connection from Somerset Crossing all the way down to the town of Haymarket and across the railroad track, linking up to the network that we have. So that tight point when you come out of the four-way stop intersection and you're coming into town, there's no sidewalk. People are on the road. They ride their bikes there sometimes. There's wetlands to either side. So they are taking that into consideration. But they do have a plan and a project slated to help us out there.
Yep, it's all in the accounting stream, which is hooray, great. It's one of the things that I wanted to do when I was mayor. But as you know, government moves slowly, so don't
Yes.
expect that the accounting stream usually takes about 10 years.
Mhm.
So
And we just
you
got
probably won't see
word,
this come around for another 10 years.
yeah, we just got word this past fall that there was positive support. So it is probably, like you said, tracking 10 years out.
Yeah.
And that's all I have for planning commission.
Yeah, that's all we got.
With,
Okay,
with
any
the,
questions?
with the QBE property, I mean, there's a lot of discussion about kind of placement of townhomes and the aesthetics over there. At what point will it actually be brought before ARB?
Are you talking, oh, yeah.
So if, a quick timeline, Planning Commission in April is going to make a recommendation one way or the other. Then it's going to go for public hearing at the town council level, most likely in June, based on when things are due to the newspapers for notices. Council will sit with that application to review it, take into consideration all of the details of it. If that is approved by the town council, then I would think that in 2027, early 27 is when they're going to start working through the site plan phase, which at that point is when staff will encourage them to come talk about the demolition portion of the back 2 units, as well as start the early conversations about the aesthetics of the property. I will say that our chair being the council liaison, he will be taking into consideration some ARB concerns when it comes to the rezoning application. On the staff side, we are also trying to take great care and making sure that things that are on the GDP are items that we can later, ensure are completed, such as that demolition permit. when it comes to the Lewis home structure and the school both being historically recognized for us locally, making sure the integrity of those is respected and also that it's kept in the forefront of how they design things.
Okay.
Yep. And you're always welcome April 14th to share any feedback. I mean, we'll have citizens time, but if there's anything you want to share with your fellow commissioners, or even share through staff comment, we're always open to taking feedback.
And is there a, like a site plan or a preliminary site plan?
Yes, so there is a very lengthy 300+ page agenda packet
Mhm.
from a planning commission meeting last week. So that's the March 10th it was?
Yeah, March 10th.
March 10th. So that's all on the website live. Like I said, it is very lengthy. It's the full traffic impact analysis. Lydia's report is up there, site plan, everything is there for review.
Okay.
Mhm. Any other commission questions? And we'll be ensuring, Jeff has had some things pop up, but we'll be ensuring to get with him, get him caught up on everything from both boards. And so soon I think he'll be joining us back.
Okay. Moving on to town council updates. I could be real quick, not too much detail, but strategic plan was adopted, as was mentioned earlier. We have some policy reviews going on, artificial intelligence use policy, purchasing policy amendments, as well as investment policy. Yeah, training and travel policies. Forgot about those. Right now, our primary focus though is budget. It's budget season. So I kind of mentioned that earlier with the blight program. And RFP on the town park, which of course, expect when we do award that, the first part is review of the master plan, and that's when our input will be most valuable. So be expecting to review that. That's about all I have. Did I miss anything on your thoughts,
Nope,
Emily?
we'll have a very busy work session. For anybody who's interested, March 30th is our big budget line by line conversation. We'll make sure to take the blight conversation back to the council. It's available online to tune in, but that's the big meeting night. That's all I have.
Okay, any questions? Next agenda item.
Oh,
Nope.
sorry, real quick before you adjourn, I have a note here. Can we discuss moving up the ARB meeting or moving it back a week? There is a conflict. Both of our clerks are at a conference and training, so we wanted to propose April 8th as the preferred option and April 22nd as a second option.
What's your guys' thoughts?
The 8th works for me.
I can't do the 8th. My wife has a Girl Scout
Okay.
thing that night, so the
Yeah,
week after would be better.
I would prefer the 22nd myself, mainly because of any COA applications that come in. I'd hate to delay
Okay.
people who, since, I think the 8th of the month is usually the deadline for it, right?
Usually right around that week. Are you
Um,
good on the 22nd?
I'm good for the 22nd. I just want to add that we do have some applications in the works for this next meeting. So we will be having a meeting and we will be having several items on the agenda.
And my only comment I'll add is I'll be at a leadership institute, but I have the utmost confidence in Lydia. She's gonna do great. You guys will, I know partner together and between all of you, it's gonna go great, but that'll be good. It'll be good.
Don't bully me too much, guys.
Okay, so we'll make that change. We'll advertise it. You can let the
I'll let the applicants know.
Okay.
Now you're ready. for the
Now,
last
it's
item.
last motion.
Oh,
Make a motion.
can I make one more announcement that I forgot to say? It's going to be really quick.
Okay,
I just want it on the record. April 9th is the first day for our farmer's market. Oh,
April 12th.
I keep messing up that date. I apologize. April 12th, Sunday the 12th, from 9 to
9 to 1.
9 to 1. I crushed at that one. 9 to 1. So come out, have fun, spend some money, socialize. That's the last bit I have for you guys.
Now we're really ready.
Now we're really ready, I promise.
we have a motion.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.